Jace, how's it going?
Good, Rich, what's up?
Good mate. So you got some toys here, the old motocross bike, jet ski, windsurfer,
Yeah, just the
surfboards.
mountain bikes is the basic essentials, that you got to have here when living on Maui.
Let's talk about your scars, mate.
The first big one was my foot. Basically, here, I don't know if you can still see it, I have some surgery lines there. It's kind of faded, it's been like 50.
Yeah.
I was basically in a tree and I fell down from a really high height and landed on my foot from a tree fall.
What's the next one?
That was about probably 15 or so years ago. And then the next one after that, I think, was my patella, which is my right knee. You can see the scar here if I just bend my knee a little bit from here to here, right down the middle. That one was again, I was really let me start that again. Sorry.
Uncoordinated.
Yeah. Is that going to wreck the whole thing though? Can you edit that or no?
Just carry on, mate. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Basically I was really uncoordinated running down the stairs at my friend's house and, ended up tripping about 3/4 of the way down the stairs and landed at the bottom and drove my knee into the wall. Fast forward another couple of years, and the next surgery one was my wrist, left wrist here. You can kind of see like a 3-inch gap right there.
Look. Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's kind of healed over pretty well, so it's hard to tell. But I got a screw in there. It's in a bone called the scaphoid bone. And again, I was just riding my bicycle in town, and the front wheel washed out, and I just slipped over and hit a old guy that was walking his dog, and fell on the ground and kind of bent my wrist back, and had to have surgery there as well. So yeah, three pretty good surgeries there. And then fast forwarding another couple of years, which is more recently really, that's maybe like 3 years ago now, I had some shoulder surgery here. You can see the long scar down the side of my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Again, one of those just random accidents where I wasn't really doing much. I think I was jumping off the roof into my pool here and went through the water shallow end and just drove my shoulder into the bottom of the pool and just busted a lot of the tendons off my rotator cuff. So I had to have some surgery there and get that fixed up. And
I noticed you got one here. What's that?
No, that's just recently from mountain bike riding with Kevin.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I went by a bush and just got a little long cut there, but that's not a surgery line.
Okay.
That's about it really as far as surgeries go. I can't really recall other surgery. I mean, I've had some bad injuries, but
Have you broken any bones?
Well, the bones that I've broken have been like my feet. Like the metatarsals, as they're called, in your foot,
right?
Which was the original ones we talked about earlier, and also a lot of the bones that make up the metatarsals. So it goes from these metatarsals into these little cubular bones that make up basically your foot. And when I had that accident, I drove my leg so far into my foot, I crushed all those little cube-like bones that make up the structure of your foot. So I had bone grafts out of both hips. You can see this side here, little scar there.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the same side here, on the other side, you can see the cut there.
Oh, yeah.
So the surgeon took quite a lot of bone out of both my hips and then kind of remolded the bones.
In all your years, how many months or years do you think you've been injured that you haven't?
Yeah, that's actually a
been
good
able to
question.
do
No one has asked me that before, but I would say if I had to add up all the surgeries, all the downtime, I'd have to say at least probably 4 to 5 years I've been down from injuries or from surgeries. Possibly, just thinking about it, possibly even more, with sort of nagging injuries that stop you from...
But actually, to be able to not actually perform, probably 4 years.
Yeah, I'd say not being able to perform my job, which is to windsurf, and say back in the day when I was competing, not being able to compete. Yeah, I would say at least 4 years.
And how many years have you been a professional athlete?
I've been a pro athlete for about since I was 18, right out of school. So over 25 years. kilometers now.
So 25. So you're looking at about a 20% downtime rate.
Yeah, I'd say possibly even more actually, Rich. Maybe more.
25%.
25% down. Yeah.
So to be like Jason Pollock, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, to be irresponsible, then yes, to be like me and
you have to pay the price.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean, you look at other athletes like I don't know, Kelly Slater and guys like that who've been in the tour for a long time, and they've done very well. I'm just a little silly with my motorbike riding. It's cost me a lot, and all these little other injuries that I've had. Maybe not from motorbike riding, from other other little silly things that I've done. That all adds up, and definitely. If I had to relook at it and maybe do it over again, some of the things I'd be a little bit more sensible about.
And what about moving forward, Jace? Are you still going to go full speed?
I mean, I don't really know any other setting. Maybe a little bit more cautious, possibly. But then, once you get in on the day and you get in amongst it, and you kind of get warmed up, you just get that adrenaline going, and you're sort of back on the horse again, so to speak. Some of the other stuff, like the more dangerous, maybe stuff like maybe the motorbike riding, I'm a little bit more wary about. But it's the same thing, when if they're going to build a big jump, you want to do it right. So
cool.
yeah. So anyway, I guess I only know one speed, right?